Hi everyone and welcome to this weekly upload. Today I'm going to be ranking every Star Wars movie and TV show, so I've tried to get the most updated version here. Now I apologise because I've got a bit of a cold, but I do want to say thanks very much to Flipbricks because this was his suggestion, so I hope you'll enjoy and I'm really looking forward to it. So we're first going to go in with Tales of the Jedi. Tales of the Jedi is a really good TV show, to be honest. It was too short, and one of the first Ahsoka episodes was a little bit dull, but it's definitely going in A tier because it was a really solid TV show. I love the stuff with Count Dooku about his fall to the dark side. So next we've got the Phantom Menace. I'm not a massive Phantom Menace fan. This is gonna have to go in D. I'm sorry guys. It's not a great film. The writing's kind of poor. The Duel of Fates is awesome, and I love that whole sequence, but ultimately there's not much to make this film stand out to me. It's Jar Jar Binks is not a very good character. I don't really enjoy the film. It's long, the politics is a bit painful. It's not a great film. Attack of the Clones is a C. Attack of the Clones is again, the plot is really messy and confusing, but there are some really, really good sequences, and slightly more so than the Phantom Menace, which is going to make me put that above the film. The Battle of Geonosis, for example, is a really, really awesome sequence, as well as all the stuff on Kamino with Obi-Wan and Jango Fett. Again, another really good sequence. So next we have the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars, we're going right up here. This is S tier content up here. I don't want to say the Clone Wars is a great show. Now, there are really bad episodes. There are not very many of these episodes, though, and that's what holds this show together, because the absolutely outstanding episodes really outnumber the really bad ones. So that's what makes the Clone Wars stand out for me, and it's one of the most iconic shows of all time, and it really brought some of the prequel films back to life. So, Revenge of the Sith is next. While the writing is again not very good, we're going to put it there in A tier because it's a really good film. Again, it's just the sheer amount of absolutely awesome sequences with Order 66, Obi-Wan vs Anakin, and it's a really good finale to the prequel trilogy, even if these two films just don't really quite match up to it. The Bad Batch. I was really disappointed by the second season, The Bad Batch, and the first season. Unlike Clone Wars, the poor episodes really, I don't know if they outnumbered the mediocre ones or the good ones, but it was not a great show. I'm going to have to put this with Attack of the Clones in C tier, I think, because it wasn't a very good show. And there were a few episodes where I really enjoyed it. There was a really good bit of character development, but overall, I just couldn't really do it. It wasn't a great show. Solo is a really fun film. It's not the most amazing Star Wars film I've ever seen written, but it's really fun, and it does a really nice job of explaining Han Solo's backstory. Ultimately, the acting is really good in Solo. I don't have too much to complain about it, just the story's a little bit slow. There's quite a bit of sort of just stuff that's thrown in there just to explain stuff and doesn't really have that much impact on the story. But overall, it's a really good film, and I enjoyed it. Obi-Wan Kenobi. I hate to say this was a really forgettable show. I'm gonna put it down with Phantom Menace. There was a few good scenes with Obi-Wan and Vader, but I really like the idea that Obi-Wan stayed in exile after Revenge of the Sith, and they just seemed to try and really just. It didn't need to exist as a show, I don't think, and I didn't really enjoy it because there was a lot of just stuff with Leia and Obi-Wan and just trying to make loose connections, and it didn't really stand out for me, to be honest. I forgot this show existed until very recently. On a more positive note, however, we've got Rogue One next, and Rogue One is going up with Clone Wars because I love Rogue One. It's such a good film. It does an amazing job of creating really unique, original characters, unlike this show and kind of unlike Solo. And it creates these really unique, original characters and then kills them all off. It's shocking, but it's a brilliant film. Rogue One is one of my favourite Star Wars films. So, yeah, there's nothing I can say negatively about that film. It's just awesome in every aspect. A New Hope is going to go in the We're going to put it in A rather than S. It's got to go above these two, though. New Hope's an awesome film. I think, actually, it is one of it. The Empire Strikes Back is obviously the best in the original trilogy. New Hope being the second best, in my personal opinion. But it's verging on the S tier. But I think just for a few little reasons regarding, like the lightsaber duel with Obi-Wan and Vader, actually it doesn't look that good. But you see George Lucas turn this around in the prequels and in Empire Strikes Back. But I love New Hope. You can't not love New Hope. It's an amazing film, but it's just verging on that S tier for me. Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars film. It's got to go there. It's even outranking Clone Wars, I think, because it's... I mean, at the time, obviously, I'm 16, I wasn't around, but The Empire Strikes Back is the first time where you see the bad guys, they win. It gives the Empire a real sense. You don't get this in New Hope, but the Empire in Empire Strikes Back has a real sense of power and threat, and it just makes it one of the most awesome antagonists in any film trilogy. It's an amazing film, and I don't see how you can't like Empire Strikes Back. Return of the Jedi is just going to go behind New Hope here. I love Return of the Jedi. It's a great film, but the Ewoks, man, the fact they could have been Wookiees and they ran out of fur for the filming, I find quite funny. But if they were Wookiees, this film would be like somewhere over here in S tier, because the story is great. It carries it. The plot line on Tatooine is it's a little bit wonky, but in terms of what Luke Skywalker's plan actually is. However, it's a great film. There's so much like about Return of the Jedi. The space battle, the revelations, the fight with Vader and the Emperor at the end. It's a phenomenal film. So next we have The Mandalorian. Now, The Mandalorian will be ranked a lot higher had it not been for that third season, which unfortunately is going to make me put it in the B tier, because I hated the third season of Mandalorian. It was rubbish. I didn't enjoy anything about it. The finale was incredibly underwhelming. The acting, I just didn't feel was as good at all in Season 3. Season 2 could have been the perfect end to the show, and that would have maybe put it at the bottom of S tier, almost for certain, because it was great, I loved it, until Season 3. I don't know why they decided to push it further. Massive mistake in my opinion, but it's going to have to go in B tier, because I just really didn't enjoy that third season. The Book of Boba Fett is shambles. It's a really, really bad show. I'm going to put it just... I'm going to put it below Kenobi. It's our lowest ranking yet. The Book of Boba Fett was terrible. It took Boba Fett's character as this cool, awesome bounty hunter, and instead of being an anti-hero, just turned him into this, like, good guy who... He's a crime lord, but he's a really good person. And then they just, like, put the beginning of The Mandalorian Season 3 in this show, miss Boba Fett for like 2 or 3 episodes. It was such a bad show. I don't know why they did that. They could have made The Mandalorian longer, but there were episodes where Boba Fett either appeared like once for a very short time or didn't appear at all, and that made for a really poor show. Ahsoka, I really am enjoying Ahsoka at the minute. It's really cool. I'm going to put it, it's going here. Is it better than Revenge of the Sith? Probably not, but we'll put it at the bottom of A tier. It started really slow. I didn't like that so much. But, you know, I think there's a lot in Ahsoka that's absolutely awesome. And the previous 3 episodes, I'm not going to spoil anything here, but there's been some really, really cool stuff in Ahsoka. And I'm going to refrain from saying anything else just because obviously that one's still going. So, Star Wars Resistance, I have actually had the misfortune of watching this show, and it's going in F tier. There was maybe 2 or 3 episodes which prevented it from going down here, just because of their development of the First Order as a villain, which worked. However, on the whole, this show is absolute crap. It's a really bad show, and honestly, it's got to go in F tier. I can't even put it in D. It's just a really, really bad show. I don't know what Dave Filoni was thinking when he made this, but it was like trying to create an equivalent of Rebels for kids, which Rebels you could already argue was for kids. It was a terrible show. The protagonist sucked. I didn't like any of the characters, especially the good guys. There were points I was thinking, wouldn't it be more interesting if the First Order actually won? So yeah, that was a bad show. The Last Jedi. Now, I've got mixed feelings about The Last Jedi, I've got to say. it tried to do something a bit more original than the rest of the sequel trilogy, which I'll give it credit for, but it was still bad, so it's going in the D tier. Because what did it do to Luke Skywalker? It turned him into just an old guy who was kind of just bad, and it was not a good film, unfortunately. And it spoiled Finn's character as well with the inclusion of Rose, which really was just a massive mistake. And the Rise of Skywalker, was it worse or better? It's going in F tier. Yeah, behind Star Wars Resistance. No, in front of Star Wars Resistance. The Rise of Skywalker, bad, rubbish film. Why would you just bring Palpatine back? I mean, it's not original. It was a bad story. Rey doesn't go through any character development. I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't a good film. Star Wars Visions, now I haven't actually watched all of Star Wars Visions, so I'm probably not in a really good position to give an opinion on this, but I am going to put it at the top of D tier. Some of the episodes I watched I really enjoyed, and I thought, this is really cool. And then I watched some and I thought, what on earth is this? No, I can't watch any more of this. Because obviously it's all different animation studios, they've got their different own styles, so it's not really one continuous story or even one continuous animation style, which really makes it stand out from everything else. But that also means it's a mixed bag, right? So I'm going to have to put it in D tier, because there were some episodes where I thought, this is worse than, like, the Jar Jar Binks episodes of Clone Wars, or some of the stuff in Bad Batch, or maybe even this. Young Jedi Adventures, I turned this on and then turned it off within about 5 minutes. That was bad. I'm not going to say any more about that, because I haven't watched very much, and I don't want to watch very much of it. The Force Awakens, I really enjoyed The Force Awakens when it came out, but looking back, it wasn't a very original film. We're going to rank it above The Last Jedi. Yeah, we're going to put it here in C tier, verging on D tier, because it wasn't original, but I really enjoyed some aspects of the story. And stuff with Finn that they were building up to be a really big character, then they screwed him over, basically, in these 2 episodes, and just dropped his storyline, which is just really sad, because he was a really cool character. Star Wars Rebels. I really enjoy Star Wars Rebels. I've completely changed my mind on this. I didn't like this show at all for a really long while. But I'm going to have to put it, actually, quite high. I'm going to rank it over The Mandalorian, controversially, because there were some bad episodes, but my goodness, those final 2 seasons were absolutely brilliant. I love them. They were excellent. And it feeds really nicely into Ahsoka, so you can rank these like a similar point, because that's what they are, and they feed really nicely into each other, I think, so that's great. Andor, another legendary show. Do we rank it above Rogue One? I don't think we do, but it's going up here in the S tier, because this is one of the greatest things Disney has ever made, along with Rogue One. They nicely accompany each other, obviously, with Cassian Andor being one of the main characters. But Andor is absolutely phenomenal. I loved it as a show. It was just brilliant, and the character development was awesome. The grittiness of the world it created, it didn't feel as much like typical Star Wars as everything else, and that really unique standpoint it took on the Star Wars galaxy is what sets it out from everything else and makes it an absolutely fantastic TV series. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. I really hope you've enjoyed the video, and I have actually really enjoyed the video, trying to put all these into a ranker, because I've never done this before, and it's been quite fun, and I've really enjoyed it. So, thanks very much for watching, everyone. I'll see you all in the next animation.